Good evening and welcome to the August 9th City Council meeting. Tonight we have a fairly short agenda, but we do have a full audience that would like to speak to the council and a few other items. First off, I wanted to take a minute to say I know right now it's very frustrating in our community because of all the construction that we have going on. I really appreciate everybody's patience on this. I know it is frustrating, and you know they've been working on south of Lamar for quite some time now. But now they're moving into Lamar, into the downtown area where they'll be replacing the concrete along the railroad tracks. So this is going to be a 10-week process, and it will affect some of the parking downtown. So please look for alternate parking around behind the buildings or around the corner. And bear with us as we get this project done. It is scheduled to last until May of 22. So this construction will be going on for quite some time. So we might as well, ease up and get comfortable with it because it will be here. But similar to from Pearl Street over to Colonia, once they were done, it was a great project and Main Street looks wonderful. So we're looking forward to having it completed. It'll last for, quite some time afterwards, and it'll help beautify our city even more. So thank you for your patience once again. With that said, we do have Galen Burnett who will do our invocation tonight. Would you like to start us in the invocation?
Father, we do want to thank you for your love for us and your work and your blessing and protection upon our city. Father, we thank you for the men and women who are working for our city, whether it's as city council members or the people who are off around our houses, working in the streets and the sewers and the water and all that stuff, so we have an enjoyable city to live in. Father, thank you for taking care of us and blessing us with this summer. Father, we do pray that you will help us to make the right decisions as we live here in Lamar. We pray that you will just be helping us to keep cool, calm, and collected as we have to deal with the construction. It irritates all of us, but it's also so good to see when it's completed. Father, tonight we pray that you will just be given wisdom and insight to our city council members as they talk, as they hear, as they think about what is the best thing to do with the decisions that they'll be confronted with tonight. Father, we pray that you'll just give them wisdom and insight so they do the best decisions. Father, we just thank you, we praise you, and look forward to your work in our lives in the future. We praise you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Jerry, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the time is now 7:02 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Joe Gonzalez.
Here.
Rafael Rodriguez.
Here.
Jerry Jenkins.
Here.
Kirk Crespin.
Here.
Oscar Riley.
Here.
Manuel Temez.
Here.
Anne Marie Crampton.
Here.
Kristen McCrae. Lance Clark.
Here.
Okay, before we move on, I do have a couple of agenda items that I'd like to add in. Under old business, I'd like to add in number 3 for the downtown custom car. Trevor is here tonight and would like to do an update, so I was going to add that in on item number 3 of the old business. And then down below, make that number 2, and number 3 will be moved down to the city administrator research report. And then the other item that I have is under new business, changing miscellaneous of number 8 to number 9, and then we're going to insert the review of the ChargePoint MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which will be number 8. So can I get a motion for those? Or any questions?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to make the 2 amendments. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You did it wrong? Okay. And Ralph?
I had it upside down.
And the motion passes unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have any items that we need to separate out for separate vote? I didn't see any in there. Did anybody else? Okay, what's the council's pleasure?
I move or approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as submitted. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. This is the audience participation portion. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not appear on the agenda. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and that is at the discretion of the council. Is there anybody here that would like to speak to the council tonight? Okay, we do have one group. Would you like to come up? And just state your name and who you're with.
Hi, my name is Lori Dimmitt, and I work at High Plains Community Health Center, but that is not who I'm representing here tonight.
And I'm Heather with NAND, and I also work at High Plains, but same as Lori, that's not representing either.
Okay.
We just wanted to come and let you know how successful the Corporate Cup event was this weekend. It was a great time. There was so much turnout. There's actually several people in the audience that were participating as well, and so we just wanted to say thank you for supporting that event and letting Morgan put it on, because she did an excellent job. The event, having it in different parts of town throughout the weekend, was just so fun. There was community members that just came to watch and not even participate. And so we just wanted to give her a kudos for the event and a thank you for supporting something new coming in. It was probably the most enjoyable, like, recreational weekend I've had in a very long time. It was really, really fun.
Great.
And I would just like to add on to that, a big highlight of the Corporate Cup was the community togetherness event that all of the teams participated in. So basically, they just had their team come together and pick something to do out in the community just to help out. So the LPD had a team, and they went and picked up trash behind Walmart, which was definitely needed, and they did a great job doing that. High Plains and SDS actually partnered together, and they pulled weeds along the bike trail up on 14th, which was definitely something that was needed. I know the city had a team where they painted the handicap signs outside of the city complex, and PMC actually donated to the animal shelter. So I definitely wanted to highlight those things. And I'm just kind of going along with what Lori said. It was a huge morale boost for everyone that participated, but everyone that was just out there watching the events, out there supporting as well. There was definitely a huge amount of energy out there. And like Lori said, like, using those two different locations, we actually heard a lot of people say things like about the North Gateway Ponds. They didn't even know that that whole area back there existed. So that was a huge, I think, takeaway from that as well. I thought it was great that there was businesses that came together to work together for the community togetherness. And overall, I feel like the event was a huge success. It's not really anything that we've seen around here before, and it really shows the change. I don't know, that kind of change is necessary and really brings our community together. And I really hope, next year it's going to be even more successful, and we'll see more of our public officials out there as well supporting it. And then I do want to give a huge shout out to Morgan, because this was her big event that she brought in. Obviously, I want to also thank Martha and Kendra, because they were a big help to Morgan, but I think she's done a really great job in the short amount of time that she's been here and she's been with the city, and she's really wanting a lot of change out there, or wanting to bring a lot of change for more participation, more community engagement, and she's just a huge asset to our community. And I'm glad that she is homegrown, but I'm glad she made it back to Lamar after venturing out for a couple of years. So I really can't praise her enough, and I'm kind of sad she's not here to hear this, but
Yeah.
there's that.
Well, great, thank you very much. I wish I would have known as well, because I would have asked her to be here tonight, or, you know, because it was great to hear those things, and I know she worked really hard on that.
It was a great, well-ran, super organized, we knew what was happening as a team.
Yeah.
There, it was quick, and the brackets ran very smoothly. It was a really great event.
Everyone's already talking about next year.
Next
They
year.
can't
Good.
wait for next year,
Yeah.
and
Great,
so, yeah.
well, thank you very much.
Yep.
That input is greatly appreciated.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we had somebody from the RC. We don't have you on the agenda itself, so if you'd like to talk to us in the audience participation, that would be great during this part. Yes. Yeah,
Sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
here too.
Yeah, well, that's all right. If you'd like to talk to us now about what you're needing.
Okay. Sorry. Speaker. My name is Liz Simo, and Rick Francis and I started up the radio controlled airplane airport out here by the big water tanks. And when originally we started in on this, we asked for half as wide as the street as Oak Street or Main Street. They only put in one path in there, and that was it. And we needed the second path because of the wind direction. And I and the ready mix out there, A1, put the money up to put that in ourselves. So the city come along, then, earlier they told us they didn't have money, till I went and done this, and then they said, well, we pay for the other half.
Right.
But they're too small. These airplanes, some of these airplanes is taller than you. They've
No.
got 12-foot wingspan.
Oh, wow.
I brought a book here, there's
Okay.
even little kids. If you'd like to see what I'm talking about, I can show it to you.
Okay.
I brought a bunch more there.
I'll pass it around.
They have a show in Las Vegas, and they give trophies and money for this year.
Okay.
And I'd like to get something like that started here, plus get these young kids to build their own airplanes, because they can't afford to buy some of the planes. And I was gonna furnish the materials for them to build them. Their dad had to buy the motors, the radio controls and stuff. And we got knocked out of that because of the virus. Like I told him, we had a room down here at the North Old Elementary School that we got knocked out of. And now I want to get it started because a lot of things in my life I'm getting over all the time. And I would like to get it finished.
Okay.
And if we can get it finished where we can get this here going, I'd like to have the open show on it in August, but we are not gonna get to do that. Might have to wait till next year to have it open out on it. I went to one in Las Vegas to tell you how much fun it was. They've got some beautiful planes. Some of them goes up to $20,000.
Wow.
They've got 8-cylinder engines, everything else with some of them, that's what,
Yeah.
that, I can't afford that type myself. But they have this one that goes up in the air, and it's on a string with the tie to it. And it costs you $100. If you can break that balloon, you win all the money that the other people just put in for it. Tell you what, you ain't gonna get the wood.
Yeah. Well,
It
good.
goes one way or the other way, up or down.
Yeah. There you
But they
go.
do it for donations
Okay.
to different organizations, to some of the children's fields and stuff. And I'd like to get that started. There's not one up in this northern country.
Okay.
It's all down south in Las Vegas and stuff like this. I would have liked to have the airport up here, but the federal government says no.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that really hurts me when they told me no.
Yeah.
But that's what we're wanting to do is get it finished if we can.
So you need it widened, is what you're looking for? Widening and
Yeah,
lengthened as
widening.
well? Longer as well? Okay. Now, do you have a crosswind runway or just the one?
They run the crossways like this
You do have the crosswind? Okay,
for the winter
right,
and
right.
stuff.
Okay,
And some of us make the lightning on the short one, but there's some of us that run off of it, tear that lanes up,
yeah,
and we'd like to get it finished.
okay.
It's
Well, I
a great
can-
deal for the young kids, they learn how to fly, it's like a real plane.
How much longer?
Huh?
How much longer do you want the runway?
Half as wide as Main Street is, or Oak Street.
How long?
Along was 120 feet long, and we've got those two already done that long. The reason that is, we have jets. We've got a man in town here that's got a jet. We can't
Probably about 400 feet long.
400 feet long total?
Is that what it is? I forgot.
It's 200 feet long now, you just can't count the ends, so it's probably more like 150.
Okay,
But the end is well, cut it,
okay,
We got a problem out there, it's rough country, rough ground,
yeah,
and snakes.
yeah,
The thing I asked for, we've got the money to buy it, go surplus grass seed, but no water.
okay,
And we asked about 400, and they said, no way.
okay. Well, it may be a longer term project, but we could
Yeah,
sure
well,
start looking into it.
We ain't gonna build this overnight.
Right.
I knew that when we started 7 years ago.
Yeah,
If we at least had one runway that was long,
that would help. Okay,
you know,
okay, we could start researching that and seeing.
For your time.
Do you guys have any questions or?
Does, what's the runway made out of right now? Just asphalt?
Asphalt.
Yeah, it's asphalt.
Is it the-
about 200 feet.
Is it the roto-mill stuff, or is it just roto-mill?
Go up there.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the ground up asphalt?
Yep.
Yeah,
No, it was laid out.
Oh, okay.
it was actually laid down.
Compacted dirt. But it's about this high off the ground. And we need dirt shoved up to it. But before we do that, we need to see if we're gonna get it lengthened or not.
Okay,
And if it's gonna get wider and a little bit longer, if 50 foot longer would be better than putting nothing. I know
Okay.
it's expensive, I get,
We can even take, some of this ground up asphalt, add the oil to it, and redo it, like they do with some of the old highways. That's for fine. That saves money to use the old blacktop.
okay, okay,
I thought about trying to get somebody to level the whole area with house blade,
yeah,
but I don't know if that's gonna last. It probably wouldn't last. We got golfers out there.
yeah, yeah,
Well, you know what's out there?
yeah,
Heard there's badgers and snakes, rattlesnakes, you name it, it's out
Yeah.
there.
okay, well, we'll look into that a little bit more and see what we can do.
It worries me about the snakes.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
At least it's cut short, I can see them.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is it pretty low, and have they been cutting it? Like, have they been cutting it for you out there?
Have they been what?
Cutting?
Oh, yeah, they've been cutting.
Mowing?
They cut
Mowing?
pretty-
Okay.
Pretty barely.
Okay.
Last time it got a little high on the runway edge.
We just, cut the edge, not the runways,
Okay,
that's what we're cutting,
okay.
because they're up that high right now.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause I haven't got mine.
Okay.
I'm trying to get mine more down there,
okay,
but that may not work.
yeah.
You may get stuck in the sand.
Okay, well, sounds good. Well, we'll look into that, and I made notes on it, so
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
They want to put that at Escondido Park.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the council on any subject that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the city treasurer's report. Kristen's not here tonight, so I would imagine there's no report there. The city clerk, Linda?
So our June sales and use tax collected in July was $418,596.94, which was up 9.66%, or $36,885.62 from 2020. Our year-to-date collections were $2,812,993.52, which is up 16.99%, or $408,615.85 from 2020. And I also just have one announcement. Petitions can be picked up for the November election anytime between now and August 23rd. They are due back no later than 4 p.m. on August 23rd.
Okay. Any questions for the city clerk? Seeing,
For the election, for the
Election.
November election? Excuse me.
for the council seats that were open? Yeah. Okay. Do we have any other questions for the city clerk? Seeing none, we'll move on to the city administrator report. Again, Anne Marie Crampton, the mayor pro tem, and I have been dividing out the duties of the city administrator report. So Anne Marie, do you have anything you want to?
I'm good right now.
Okay. A couple of items that I wanted to add in was there is the school district new staff reception, which will be on August the 11th. There are 20 new people coming into the school district, and I just wanted to point that out for our city council. If there are any members that would like to attend that, that would be good for us to represent and welcome them to the school district, to our community.
Where's it at?
I thought I had that in here. Admin offices, thank you. Yeah, so it is at the admin offices. Okay, the Sand and Sage Fair is from August the 7th through the 14th, so it has already started. Coming up, we have the Ham and Bean Dinner on August 12th at 5:30 p.m. at the fairgrounds. There's a Sand and Sage Fair breakfast from August the 12th and August the 13th from 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning. There's the barbecue on August 13th and 14th at 6 p.m. And then there is the rodeo on August 13th and 14th at 8 p.m. each night. The Sand and Sage Fair Parade will be on August the 14th, Saturday at 10 a.m. I did talk to, we had talked about that last meeting as far as council members being available to ride on the float. So if you can plan to be there at 9:30, that would be greatly appreciated. Downtown Custom Classic Expo, August the 20th through the 21st. As I mentioned earlier, we have Trevor that'll be giving us an update after the public hearing later in the agenda. We have the groundbreaking for Escondido Park Soccer Field. So on August the 23rd at 12 o'clock noon, we've invited the Southeast Colorado United Soccer Organization as well as Lamar Community College. We'd like to have the council members there and members of the Parks and Rec, but this will be the groundbreaking for the new soccer fields that we have. So we'll have the 2 full-size soccer fields, and this will also kick off the plans for LCC's new soccer program. So very exciting event we're looking forward to. And then last but not least, the corporate cup update. The ladies previously had gave us an update on the corporate cup that it was a very big success. And I do want to take a moment to thank Morgan and Martha and Kendra for working on it. They had me attend the opening ceremony and spoke for a little bit to welcome everybody, but you could tell they had it very well organized, and watching it at a distance, it was a very successful event. And I think next year will even be more successful. Aside from that, I did go to Scooters this morning. They did open up this morning, as many of you may already know. They did open up as a soft opening. They said it would be about 2 to 3 weeks before they do the big grand opening with the ribbon cutting. So I will keep the council informed when that happens, but we will be getting that. Before I change that, I know we have that Escondido Park ribbon cut or groundbreaking and the ribbon cutting for Scooters, and You know, one thing I'd like to add in there is that I know these are small events that we're looking at as far as groundbreaking or a ribbon cutting. It may seem like a small event for many of the communities out there. But for our community, you know, having these small wins, they gather up and they compile and they make a big win. And that's what's important for our community. It helps our morale. It helps to see that things are happening in our community. And that's why it's so important for us to participate in those. So I do want to make sure that everybody knows that that's our intent, is to celebrate all the little wins as we can, because it's those little wins that'll compile into a big one. And I believe that over the last couple of years, I've seen a very big change in our community. People are more positive, more upbeat. They're looking forward to the growth. They're looking forward to change. And I think you can see that throughout the business community as well as just residents in general. So we want to keep that momentum going and updated, and keep that excitement built up. So we'll continue to do that. And we're looking forward to some more bigger announcements later in the year, and hopefully there'll be some great ones for everybody. All right, moving on.
Could I add one thing? I think
Yes.
there was one thing missing from the Sand and Sage Fair, and that's the Ranch Rodeo.
Okay.
On August 12th. The women's rodeo starts at 4, and the men's starts at 7, if I remember correctly. So I was just missing from your list of Sand and Sage events.
Thank you.
Where's the parade gonna form at? Safeway?
Nowhere.
The parade?
That's my understanding, Safeway. I'll double check and let you guys know. It is at the swimming pool?
Down Parkview, the Cedar, down 4th Street. We're gonna come up Oak, catch Main, Beach Street, and we're down there. Because of all the detours and everything, we're gonna go a different route this year, but that way, everyone can want to do downtown, we got it downtown as much as we could. But we should probably be doing the construction going on there, and do a very interesting route this year.
Okay. Now, will you have that published or have a map?
Should already be, the railroad should already put that out.
Okay.
It's on Facebook, I believe.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I think it was last week we got it approved, and we said we're gonna put it out. And so,
Okay. Martha, could you see if you can get a copy of the map and publish that so that people would know? Thank you. All right, any questions for the city administrator report? Seeing none, we'll move on to reports and correspondence from the council. Does anybody have any liaison reports or
I don't.
correspondence?
Nope.
Jerry?
No.
Okay. I do have one thing. I was asked to have a meeting today with Karen Bryant at Prowers Medical Center. This was, the discussion was wanting to create a monthly conversation with the mayor and with the CEO of the hospital to try to bridge that gap and create better communication between the city and Prowers Medical Center as, you know, great partners in our community. It was a very good conversation. Just to kind of give you an update, I did get some information on their new MRI project that they're working on, as well as some of the researching that they're doing for new healthcare providers for the hospital and surgeons. So they do have a lot happening at Prowers Medical Center. One of the things that we talked about a lot was reviewing what happened over this last year and a half, the changes that COVID brought in and the challenges we both faced side to side. You know, of course, the healthcare industry had their own challenges and their own things that were priorities for them. And as a city, we had our own challenges and our own priorities, trying to represent the city and the community and keeping everything on an even keel. But, you know, having those two different priorities made a challenge as far as communicating and collaborating and working together. So we discussed that. We discussed some of the challenges that we saw and how we can remediate that for the future and going forward. And I think it was jointly agreed upon that having this monthly conversation would be a good step in the right direction to do that. There is some concern throughout the community. There's some concern nationwide about this Delta variant, and you'll hear a lot about that in the upcoming months. That was one of the topics we talked about as well. You know, from the very beginning of COVID, I had stated, ultimately, it's up to you to determine how best to protect you and your family and your loved ones. And we've left it into the community's hands as well as the businesses when it came to business. And I still believe that today. But with that, it also comes along with some of the concerns that she brought up is that she's heard some comments about people that do wear masks right now. And I just want to encourage our community to remember that just as we're saying, it's up to you to protect yourself the best way you can. Please remember and respect that those people that are wearing the masks are trying to do the same for them and their family. And we want to make sure that we're not creating division between our community, but we're all working together to have a nice community that we can live in and all appreciate and enjoy. So that was part of the conversation. Of course, there's some fear with school starting. And last year at this time, we were doing great. October hit and we had a big spike in cases. So they are encouraging everybody to vaccinate, and I know that's a personal preference and a personal choice. But if you are deciding not to vaccinate, I encourage you to please take as many steps as you can to keep it safe. Wash your hands, keep social distance, all those basic things that are just courtesies. So moving forward, we hope to improve that rapport and relationship with Prowers Medical Center, and we believe this is a step in the right direction. All right, seeing no other reports or correspondence, we'll move on to the old business. The first item is a public hearing for special event permit for the Lamar Elks Lodge 1319 to host a beer garden during the Downtown Custom and Classic Expo Car Show. So can we get a motion to move into the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move into the public hearing. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ref. Motion passed unanimous, and we are now in the public hearing. So the first part of the public hearing is just to verify proof of publication. Linda, could you let us know?
Yes, it was published in the Lamar Ledger on July 29th and on site July 29th.
Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda, well, it has for me to speak a little bit about this, but of course this is a special event to host the beer garden there, and it's from 5 p.m. until midnight on the 21st, and from 10 a.m. to midnight or 10 p.m. 10 a.m. to midnight at the Shore Arts Center, Pocket Park, to coincide with the Downtown Custom and Classic Car Show. Are there any questions or comments from the council before we move forward?
The midnight is just a figure put in there, because it'll be done before midnight.
Okay. So estimated time is midnight?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No later than.
No later than. All right. So then we'll open the floor to anybody that would like to speak against the permit. Is there anybody who would like to speak against it? Please state your name and where you live, and you will have 3 minutes each. So.
Okay, I'm Galen Burnett. I live at 800 South 6th Street here in Lamar, Colorado. Alcohol is the third leading preventable cause of death in the United States right now. Third preventable. Excess drinking comes with short and long-term risks. Some of the short-term risks include unintentional injuries like falling down, drowning, burns, motor vehicle accidents, violence including homicide, suicide, and sexual assault, alcohol poisoning, poor decision-making, and engagement in risky behaviors such as unprotected sex and so forth. Long-term, things that last a little bit longer, includes health problems like hypertension, heart disease, stroke, liver disease, cancer of the breast, mouth, throat, esophagus, liver or colon, alcohol dependence, memory and learning problems, and we've all seen these in our community. An estimated 95,000 people die every year from alcohol-attributed causes. Over 29 die every day in motor vehicle crashes. In 2010, over $249,000 was added to our economy because of repairs for alcohol. Alcohol affects both men and women, but excessive drinking is more done by men than women. There is a variety of things that you, the City Council, can do. Evidence-based strategies that you can take to keep from excessive drinking being done here in our community. You can increase the taxes, reduce the alcohol outlet density, reducing the days and hours of alcohol sales, and not approving this request. As school is starting very soon, I'll be going back to the Lamar High School. And every time that I walk in to be a sub in Lamar High School, I walk past the sign that talks about Peterson and Hughes. These young boys were playing sports with my kids. They're the same age. These guys have been dead for a number of years. Why? Because of alcohol consumption. I don't want to see us put up another placard or another place in memory of kids that are dying. We're talking about there's having a beer garden in city-owned property, Pocket Park, on August the 20th and 21st. I have some questions. Are they equipped? Do they know everything that they need to know? Are they having plans for proper fencing to keep making sure that they keep the people out who shouldn't be in there? This is supposed to be a family type affair coming in for our community. But not all the part of the family is invited into this. So I'm concerned about, are they going to be able to do this? I looked at the map, and it looks like it's the Pocket Park plus a little bit of the driveway behind that. I have some concerns about that. I have some concerns about, are they all TIPS certified? I assume that they probably are. But we need to make sure, we need to keep diligent and not just allow some of these things to slide through there. And the last one that I want to talk to you about is we're all aware that a few years ago, Colorado approved full-strength beer. Pretty well shot 3.2 out of the system. And grocery stores, liquor stores, and so forth started selling 6.0 or the full-strength beer. But do you realize that Colorado did not? Let me say that again. Colorado did not change the law that says in state parks, county parks, city parks, that they can only serve 3.2. A lot of other counties did not know that. Denver County and other counties along the Front Range had to go back and pass some type of a law that said that you could allow 6.0, the full-strength beer.
We're at 5 minutes, so if you
Okay.
can.
My question is, did Lamar do this? If Lamar did not do that, the state law says you can only have 3.2. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. And hopefully you guys will be able to address the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That map doesn't include the Pocket Park. It's the alleyway behind the Pocket Park.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody that would like to speak, or anybody else that would like to speak against this? Is there anybody who would like to speak in favor of the request? Oh, this is the fenced area that you're talking about?
Yeah. Actual pocket.
It's not in the pocket park?
No, it's a joint.
So they're not gonna have alcohol in the pocket park?
As far as I don't know.
Oh, you are? Okay. Well, if you can come up and tell us for sure, that would be great.
I'm Trevor LaCosta, I live at 2708 Memorial Drive. Here's stuff we put at 11895, County Highway 126.
Just a minute, I live at 8076 County Road, you mean 13.
Sorry, can you guys put up all the way to the mic?
About 8 years old.
Okay? Who'd like to go first?
Yes, I guess I'll clear up the outer perimeter of this thing. So last year we included the pocket park, we gated off the front on across Main Street at 15 feet or whatever that opening is, 25 feet. And then we built a fence out the backside of the pocket park that was approximately 50 by 30. So we'll be doing the same footprint this year. I just want to put out, last year we had absolutely zero problems, anything negative, none of that happened. It was a really great event overall. Same thing with the beer garden aspect itself, no problems. We had a lot of help from LPD the night of, just extra patrol, stuff like that, but outside of extra patrols, we did not have to contact them about one negative thing at all. We feel like it adds something else for people to do downtown. It ranks right up there with COVID as far as a personal choice, if your personal choice is to consume alcohol, it's more power to you, let's do it. If not, you don't have to participate. There's plenty of other things to do down there during the car show. But, with that being said, I don't think you guys have anything to add. I have a lot to add, so I'll let Justin go.
I'm Justin Bennett, I'm the clubroom manager at the Elks. These two gentlemen come to me, we had it, it's been 2 years now, and last year we did not have it because of COVID. And they asked me to do it, well, we got all ramped up, it didn't happen, so they come to me again. I said, sure, we'll do the same thing we did last year or the year before. We have several volunteers from the Elks Lodge that are going to be working the beer garden. There will be tip certified personnel in or around that beer garden every time it's open. Jackie Manley, I will not be there Friday night, I got another engagement I gotta be at. Jackie Manley will be there. She'll be there the whole time, and then we have, I'm pretty sure about everybody that works out there, Up's gonna be there too, so. Saturday I'll be there from the time it opens to the time it closes, so. That's it.
Very good. As far as, I need to really respect what Galen said. We're friends. We serve on a committee together, a City of Lamar committee, in fact. And I always appreciate his point of view, whether or not I agree with it or not. I still appreciate his point of view. I do want to correct two things. That property is owned by Arkansas Valley Wind and Percussion Ensemble. It is managed by the City of Lamar. That's a long-term lease. We are working with the city on other alternatives for that space, but as it currently stands, that is owned privately by us. The second point is a little more personal. Mark Hughes was my nephew, and so Mark Hughes didn't die because he consumed alcohol. He died because he obtained it illegally, and then he crashed a vehicle after letting everyone else out of that vehicle. So I want to make that point abundantly clear. The choices that he made that evening were his own personal decisions. They had nothing to do with whether or not people consume alcohol or not. That's the main thing. Chris addressed the barriers and things like that. We'll be doing security for the show as well.
So with the fencing, is that no alcohol will go outside of the fencing, but anybody can go in, or is it
We are
any age?
we are keeping alcohol only within the park and within the beer garden itself.
Okay.
It will not be in the Shore Arts Center. There are activities planned in that building.
Okay.
It's an art show and some other things for the community. One more quick thing, a family event is a family event, and you do go outside of the community all the time and see other people run successful beer gardens, including our county fair. I know it took a long time to get that started, but they handle it and they manage it well. I will say two things about our show. We picked a first-class partner to run the beer garden. Nobody else could do that. These guys are first class, they know what they're doing. Their liquor license is on the line. Our reputation is on the line. They picked a first-class event. So we're working together. We're not going to have issues. We've committed ourselves to that. We've committed ourselves to the city for that.
And the servers are tip certified. And do you have somebody that'll bus tables so that nothing's left laying around? And
That's what I was saying. 2 years ago when we did this, we had several volunteers out there with us. We did go around, if there was an empty cup, or I guess we also say cans, empty cans, whatever, was immediately picked up. Everybody that walks in there will be ID'd. If you are 21 and older, you will have an armband on. If you do not have an armband, somebody sees you close to alcohol, they will not be close to it no more. So we're pretty stringent. So.
Any questions for our guests?
I had some questions, but during the talk, you guys answered my questions. And it was about how it's going to get policed, are they tip certified, and how it's going to be distributed and fencing. So thank you for updating us on how that's being done.
One more quick addition. I am tip certified. It's been a number of years, but Jerry and I went through that tip certification ourselves, and it was a great reminder. I can talk about that, right? Sorry, this is James. Anyway, when we went through the certification process, it was just amazing to me that you could look at a group of photos and be wrong on so many. And that was the entire point. When I was certified, I was helping with the Lamar Chamber of Commerce and doing several events for them. And we just had a policy that said, you're just gonna get carded. And we had several older people that came up and said, you're not gonna card me. I said, you're not gonna be feared. Well, you can obviously tell I'm older than 21, it doesn't matter. Our training says you will be carded. And I assume that the Elks does the same thing, if not more. I mean, they're able.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So how many servers will be tip certified? It sounded like, well, Trevor, he'll be the
I won't be
bouncer.
serving, I'm just security.
Okay,
So-
and then one per shift, is that kind of what I heard, or will there
Well,
be more?
There's gonna be several people there. I can't tell you how many's gonna be there, because usually it's just a bunch of us and just show up. Okay?
They have numerous members that are tip certified.
Oh, yeah, we have
Okay.
several.
And these are Elk members that we're talking about here that are
Yes.
showing up for this?
We're gonna have, I know 2 of my bartenders will be there from the boat. So they're obviously tip certified. So I know they're gonna be there Friday night. Like I said, I will not be there, but Jackie is, and with her group that she's already kind of operated up, so. But yeah, there'll be several,
Okay,
yeah,
I just wanted to clarify.
yeah, several.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
I'll give you some more updates with Chris here in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
one question I can't answer is the one that you brought up about the 3.2, and I will have to look into that. I have not heard that.
Okay, so she was just stating that she'll need to look up that 3.2 concern that you brought up, and she'll look that up and find out the details on that.
Neil, I'm sorry, was there another question I may have missed? That you had several that we didn't catch the ones?
We had fencing,
Okay.
certification, and a 3.2. Yeah. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, before we close the floor, I'd like to ask the police chief, do you have any opinion, any thoughts on this?
So I did back up, it was a good investigation into this. I think that 2 years ago when we had this, no problem whatsoever, so I recommend it be approved.
Okay. All right, does the council have any other final questions?
Nope. Move we go out of public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to exit the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Anne Marie? Thank you. Motion passed unanimous. All right, the next item on the agenda is to take action on the public hearing.
I move we approve the special permit.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the special event permit. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Oscar? Abstained? So we have a unanimous decision with Oscar Riley abstaining. And the motion passed. Okay, next item on the agenda is the 2021 City Administrator Search Update and possible contract offer. Oh, sorry, you are right. I made the amendment myself and I forgot it. So it would be the DCCE Car Show Update. So Trevor, would you like to come up and give us an update on the car show progress? Thank you. Thank you.
Just a few updates. Not a whole lot has changed other than our sponsorships. Our first year, we had about 50 community sponsors. We're over 100 now. We consider that broad support within our community. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of people that are interested. They want to participate. They want to get us business cards for our, what we call our big ass swag bags. We have a lot of fun with that term, as you can tell. It's a great way to get our brand out there. But the community participation has been terrific. The one thing we'd really like to see is your help as council. Help us bring the people to these events in town, not just ours, but to Ron's show, to other events that are happening within the community, like Oktoberfest, things like that. Anything that we could do to make those announcements from a city standpoint would be very appreciated by all of us volunteers in the community. I can tell you that right off the bat. We have about 7,500 people that live just here. And we see just a fraction of those people at most of our city and county events. So that'd be a big kudos to our community if we could get some participation. Let Chris go over the schedule for just a second.
So Friday evening, we're going to do the same as we did 2 years ago. We added a comedy show. Like we've said earlier tonight as well, we would have had a comedy show last year. We all know how 2020 turned out. So we're bringing back some of the same comedians we had. There's a couple local people, as well as some out of the area entertainment for that night. The Arkansas Valley Wind and Percussion will be doing their concert to open up as well. Then, of course, the Beer Garden. Some people will have their cars down there that evening as well. But the official show doesn't kick off till Saturday morning. We'll be doing interload-in and registration bright and early. Hopefully everybody's kind of there and registered by 8 or so. But the showgrounds generally are open from 7 on. So we'll get cars parked. We have some food vendors coming in. All the Right Moves is coming to dance. The Firehouse Carnival is coming back again this year. We have a car art show that Trevor's been working hard on. That's going to be inside the Shore Art Center. And how do you pronounce this guy's name? I have no idea.
Andrei Tkachenko. He's Russian, and he does conceptual art for vehicles. So if any of you have seen any of his work, terrific. You're going to know what's in store for you. If you haven't, I would venture to say most of you haven't, then please, if nothing else, come down and look at the art show. We have 100 of his pieces hanging on the wall. We got permission to display them, and they are incredible. I mean, you haven't seen anything quite like this. It's really neat. You're going to have a lot of fun. We've also got quite a few photographs from past shows. Chris and I in the committee, we travel all over the place during the spring and summer months just to see what other people are doing and try to to improve our show constantly. So you'll see quite a bit in that hall for the art show. I'm proud of that show. It's something that our community deserves and we're proud of. It's for everyone. I mean, we have kids that wander through that and say, wow, somebody painted that, can I paint too? Absolutely, that's the whole point. I look at council, right? And we've never had a more diverse council. I haven't been to tons of meetings, but I've been to my share. We haven't had as diverse a council as we have today. But look at your ages. We need younger people in our community. I don't mean that disrespectfully. We need younger people. I'll tell you a funny story. One of our youngest volunteers is 20. And I asked him, I said, you don't joke very much. And he says, I don't know how to act around old people.
Ouch.
And I'm also his boss, right?
Yeah.
So that tells you a lot. We don't get our younger people involved, or they don't find things of interest here and move on. That's something that we really should take as a civic matter, all of us in our community, and try to get these kids involved in, whether it's a car show, whether it's the fair, whether it's coming to council meetings and seeing how people do this. I noticed that you must be videotaping now. That's
Yep.
new. So I missed a lot, right?
Yeah.
COVID kills us. So literally.
Yeah.
The thing about this is, let's just encourage people to get out and have fun. And really, people have missed being out and being public. And it's so encouraging to see so many things happening in our community. And we're glad to be just one of those small things. Continue to work towards building this show each and every year. We'll also continue to look for younger people to work on our committees, because there's no guarantee. I may not be here tomorrow, he may not be here. And that's one thing I've certainly learned over the last few years. The schedules are all in there, the programs are in there, this is official. These are, as you have them, collector's items, so I hope you're keeping them each and every year we're here. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I love it that you put the map of the city in the center field.
I will say Ginger Coverly is incredible. If people don't utilize her talents, I feel bad, because she's so great for our community. She just does a terrific job. She's easy to work with, and she understands our needs. She comes in and says, no, you really want this. I'm like, I don't know if we do. No, you really want this. People are going to be asking for it. You need to put this into the guide. Okay, that's how the map got there. So she's great at what she does. I would be remiss if I didn't say that we've had broad support from Lamar Police Department, Lamar Fire Department. We've had tons of support from council, and I don't think we can do the show without the support of our community. We do appreciate that more than you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any questions for our guests?
I don't.
I think it was a very good point about, no matter how many things we try to do for the community, no matter how many quality of life events we try to have, and events like yours, if people don't take part of them, if they don't act, they don't participate, then it's all, wasted time and wasted effort. So we want to make sure that you can get out there and visit it. So if you do get some time during this weekend, please attend and take a look at what you have for our community. Thank you for mentioning that, because that's a very important part. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Chris. Okay, we're moving on. Now, the next item on the agenda is the city administrator search and update and possible contract offer. Many of you may know that we did have an executive session last week, and last Monday, a week from today, or past, and we did determine on one of the candidates that we were interested in. However, in talking with him and trying to negotiate this out, we could not come to terms, so the offer was rescinded, and we're going to continue our search for a new city administrator. So my intent of having this on the agenda was to actually have a contract approval, but since that didn't work out, I'm just giving you the update to let you know that we are going to continue the search. Anne Marie and I will continue to act as the interim city council or the city administrators, and we'll continue to keep pushing forward. So the next item is the new business. We have members of the Sparrow House Ministries who would like to speak to the council and talk to the council about what they do and ask for some assistance.
I'm Joel Jacoby. This is,
I'm Veronica Jacoby.
appreciate y'all listening to us this evening. Appreciate what y'all do. Sparrow House has been operating for 7.5 years. And I'm coming before you, I mean, with this past year, we have, just like everyone else, has gone through so many changes. We're not one to bring in revenue, so to speak, but I will say, we probably spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $40,000 on food locally last year alone, so I guess we do spend some money. But what I want to ask, request, is that we have, it's a simple thing, and we just want to see more community as well. We've never asked anything really out of you guys. There's been so many people locally that have been beneficial, that have supported the pantry, and we're so grateful for that. We are a needy ministry, and with that being said, you know, we need help at times. Cardboard, we have an overflow of cardboard, and I'm requesting that either we can either take it, or your truck could come pick it up once a month.
And we've tried recycling it at the bins, and they're always so full.
Yeah.
So quantity amount would be about, per month, would be 3 watermelon containers broke down of cardboard.
Okay. So the reason why I asked, you know, one of the council members had mentioned the request, and the reason why I asked is similar to what Trevor was just saying. Now that we're, you know, video, or actually putting this out live on Facebook, I thought it was a good opportunity to talk about a little bit about what you do and how long you've been doing it. So that was part of the reason why I was asking that, just because I don't think a lot of people in Lamar know that.
And we failed in that area. We feed, once again, COVID has changed our numbers. What we thought we would have increased, we've actually decreased. Numbers are starting to creep up again, so we're running about a total of 1,000 people a month from basically Lamar. We have now gone mobile. We are into Kiowa County.
So that is
So you're doing,
trying to reach the rural, because we had families coming from Kiowa County East all through there. And so for 2 years, we've wanted to go mobile, and we finally have the capacity to do that without taking from the needs here, so.
And I don't know a lot, of course, we are Sparrow House Ministries, but we are actually a public charity. So we don't have tithes and offerings coming in. We don't, it's just the goodness of people that have given grant that.
okay.
And I write grants, that is a lot of our funding. And the cardboard deal, it seems so small. Could we afford the cardboard recycle bin? We could. It is just a matter of asking the city to invest in the food pantry. I mean, it is simply a matter of, we're not a government agency. We're not providing food to people in that capacity. We are providing food to them, but also encouraging them to make better life choices, to however we can encourage them. Whatever brings them to our door to need food, we're encouraging them otherwise. So, I mean, we have everything from grandparents raising grandkids. They don't have custody, so they don't have the additional food stamps for them. There's drug addicts. I mean, it's a huge variety. And right now, he said COVID actually decreased our numbers, which was really odd, but that is because a lot of the families with kids that were on food stamps, we're not seeing them right now because they're getting additional. So what we're seeing an increase of right now, that's kept our numbers right normal, is seniors and the families that fall in the gap that just can't quite make ends meet. So once those additional food stamps end, and we're hearing September probably, we're gonna get hit hard. So that's what we anticipate. But,
And we're
who
prepared
knows?
for that.
Yeah,
And
we are
I
prepared.
do encourage everyone to please come and take a tour of it. I mean, it It is an investment that, you know, it's been, back when it was Mary and Martha, this thing has continued for about 21 years, and it's important that it continues.
I know I can say I went and took a tour with Matt, and I was very impressed.
And it's changed since then.
Okay, because it was very organized, I mean, you guys ran very smooth.
So we're using approximately 9,500 square foot, and we're filling it. You know, the request that I would also have in the future, what we're trying to get a grant for, hopefully that takes place, but we need a walk-in freezer and a walk-in cooler, which is very large, and so the permit for things like that, if it could either be reduced or waived, or, you know, these are the requests. Anything that can cushion things for us would be appreciated.
So as far as the cardboard is concerned, you had mentioned that you tried to recycle, but the bins were full. Are you asking about, are you asking about, are the city accepting it into the city dump, or are you talking about us assisting to pick it up and take it for recycling, or it just doesn't matter?
It doesn't really matter if the city was to show up with what, I don't know what they're using.
Okay.
I've got a skid loader there, I can pick up the containers and dump them in.
Okay.
Like I said, everything's broke down, it's not gonna be dirty, it's.
Okay. So it's just disposing of it somehow, doesn't matter how.
You've mentioned the recycling cardboard units. Have you checked into those and what they cost and so forth to have that red semi come over and pick those things up? See, we got these recycling centers throughout Lamar, one by the ballpark, one over by Thriftway. Those
More
units.
likely it would be filled by others.
Yeah. That's
Cardboard ones get filled pretty quick.
pretty quick, yeah.
So, you know, during like Thanksgiving, we'll have 6 watermelon containers of cardboard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm ignorant to the fact of a watermelon container.
The
Small
big
pallet.
pallet.
Oh, okay.
Small pallet.
In the
All right.
smart picture, the watermelon and the.
Okay.
Were you gonna ask?
And my
Okay.
thought was
Could
once
you
a month.
say it louder?
Yeah. We could just hold on to that once a month, and then either I can transport it, I can do whatever is needed, or the city could show up,
So
whichever
got those dumpsters up here.
makes more sense.
The city does have a cardboard dumpster that they pick up once a month or once a week.
It's pretty small.
So you have more cardboard a weekly than that would.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess we can try to find a solution for that. I can talk to our Public Works Director and see if he has some suggestions. Did you have that as a vote, or did you?
Those
just
huge
have it as-
dumpsters, those things are pretty small,
The white ones?
Yeah.
No.
that come by once a week.
Yeah, that just wouldn't. There's
Yeah.
times it would work, and other times it
Maybe
wouldn't.
we could have a discussion.
So-
And my thought, once again, is I know how people will drive by and throw stuff in it as well. So-
Basically, 1,000 people a month. I can't remember how many families that is. 270, I want to say. On average, 40 pounds per family is what they're getting. So you can imagine, I mean, we get cereal in big boxes. It all breaks, everything breaks down. It is a lot. It's quite a bit. And you would just have to come see, like.
And I encourage, please
Jerry
come
was
and see.
saying, a lot of people think food pantry, a little room with some, it's.
Every room was filled when I went to see it.
So I can, with the council's direction, I can talk to Pat Mason, our Public Works Director, see if he has any solutions. We can research some of that, and I could bring it back for a final decision by the council on a direction. But I think I need to talk to him first and get some ideas of what would be the best solution. But if the council's good with that, I can move in that direction. I think so.
I think that's a good start.
Would that be okay with you? I can start working on a solution, and I'll get back with you, and we'll bring it back.
Even with just the white dumpster starting off, I think
Yeah.
that'd be a help for you guys.
Okay. Is that okay, Oscar?
Yeah,
I saw the other ones, so, all right, so why don't we do that? We don't have it as a formal vote tonight because we don't have a solution yet, but I will get to work on that and see what we can do. Okay?
And can you say the address where you're located at so our viewers who are watching can?
907 South 3rd.
Okay, 907 South 3rd.
And I encourage you once again, please come and, you know, food is gonna become more and more critical and yeah, so.
Okay.
And it'll make more sense when you see it.
One quick side note, TBK Bank donated a generator to the pantry that will run the whole facility in power loss, which was a huge relief and very generous. And so that's setting us up to fulfill the need if something catastrophic happens in the area. We're trying to get things set up to where the food's always there. Somebody could stay there if need be. It just is set up well, so.
For emergencies.
Right. Yeah, disaster recovery, yep. Okay, well, sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for all that you do for the community. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, moving on with the agenda. We have a briefing of progress of the building department and GIS office so far this year. As the interim, as one of the interim city administrators, it's been a very interesting time, 3 or 4 months for me, 3 months for me so far, because as the mayor, we oversee the city administrator, we see some of and the treasurer and the clerk, but we don't see down below because that is handled by the city administrator. So as the acting administrator, I've worked with the department heads thoroughly, and one of the things that I've noticed is that these departments, they have so many moving parts, they do so much different work, especially with the building department. I think a lot of us take it for granted that he's just, working with the contractors, but there's so much more to that. So I did ask Craig to come in and do a little informative talk to the council and let us know what you're doing.
Good evening, council, and thank you for the opportunity. I'll keep it short, but please ask questions if you have any. So far this year, as of August 9th, the building department has issued 229 building permits, with the values of that being $4,834,059.32. The building department fees that we collect, the contractor fees, the contractor licenses, adjustment and appeals hearings, all grand total collections for the city of $107,318.98. On top of that, I have done 997 inspections plus 57 meetings with citizens and some plan review. Also been involved in major projects, requests for proposal contracts, working closely with the contractors on the North Gateway Park canoe and kayak building, the handicap ramp, sidewalks, parking spaces, curbs, the Fort Bend Canal pedestrian bridge, ADA concrete ramps, applications to CDOT for a grant for sidewalks to be finished on the east side from Bicentennial Park to LCC, which, by the way, we got the grant for $100,000, and we're doing the paperwork for that. We've had multi-inspections with scooters. That new business is now open. Demolition of the Troy Motel was completed. Community building roof project was completed. Currently working on an ADA transition plan to help our insurance and for CIRSA. It's about 26 pages right now, identifying all the property and buildings the city has, where we're at with ADA compliance on all of those. I also oversee the GIS office. We worked on the Washington Storm Sewer lift station, the Wilson Building sidewalks, density gauge, Sword Street plan, Quail Ridge pressure map, ARPA survey of North Maple, golf course driving range, just to say a few of the building departments. So I appreciate the fact that Kirk has asked me to give you a little brief and open up the door if anybody has any questions on that.
He Craig kind of rolled through a lot of the different items, and one of them that I'd like to point out is that with the construction on Main Street, we felt that it was vital for us to start looking at the sidewalks that go along with that. And this is the grant that he's talking about that we just received the award on. That grant's going to allow us to have ADA accessible ramp or sidewalks all the way from Pizza Hut to the college. And that's just the east side, and then we're going to apply for the second half, which is for the west side. But that will give us, our community, a nice ADA accessible access all the way down Main Street, and hopefully we'll go further on from there in the future as they do the construction on that farther end. But this would give all of the different sections of the concrete updates, new sidewalks along with it, and will set our community up for many years to come. So that's a big step. He also mentioned some of the other work that he's been doing, which I'm not sure why, but he tends to get a lot of projects laid on his lap. For instance, the soccer field is a recreation program, but Craig has been working with the contractors and the RFP trying to get that because it has to do with GIS and the surveys and making sure that everything is up to code. So there are a lot of times that Craig gets these things laid in his lap, and I know we kind of joke around at breakfast once in a while that, boy, it looks like you're slowing down, we need to add more stuff to you. But he has done a great job for the community, and I know it can be difficult trying to be consistent with a lot of the things we're doing, and especially with the code enforcement and all of that. Does anybody on the council have any questions for him?
I don't.
I don't know if it's him. Did we give the contractors permission to use the Troy lot?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, we, and the reason why is because it would keep them from blocking, they had talked to me about it, Pat did, as well as, I think you and I talked about it as well. But this would, by letting them use the blank Troy Motel lot, it would keep them from blocking those intersections, so we can leave more of the intersections open. And then in addition, they have committed to making sure that it was leveled and cleaned off when they were done. So they will be cleaning it off and making sure it was in the state that it was when they received it. So. Okay, it's very good to hear that there's $4,800,000 and something thousand worth of construction projects happening in our community.
$4,834,59.32.
A lot of building, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question or anything?
Is that mostly housing or business or what?
It's kind of commingled all together. It's not split out, that total amount. It's what they put down when they apply for a permit, which typically is undervalued by about 20%.
All right, well, thank you. And then we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which Craig can stay up here for. This is permission for Craig Brooks on behalf of the city of Lamar to apply for the 2022 Brownfield Assessment Grant.
We have an opportunity to apply for 2022, $300,000 for the Brownsville grant. We are currently running on our 2019 closing out that grant. There's no cost to the city. There's no match involved. It's strictly a matter of applying through the EPA and the Brownsville folks with council's approval. Then that would go into their pool. They would look at it, and we should hear something back by probably around April or May next year, if I'm approved to go for the grant.
And this was the Brownsfield, just so the council knows, this Brownfield grant that we were working on before was very instrumental in us getting the Troy Motel cleaned out with the asbestos. So it's been a big help, and it is important.
It also
for us.
helped on the Opal's property, those buildings, and the Phase 1 on the Main Street Cafe.
Right. So it is pretty vital for us to have these funds available.
I make a motion, we allow Greg to apply for the Brownfield grant.
I'll second.
Who has to apply for it? Craig, can you apply?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you apply for that?
I can.
Yeah, okay.
He'll work through Kristen, and it says allow Craig Brooks and Krista McRae on behalf of the city to apply for it, so.
So the way that would work, Lance, is I would apply for it, send it up to her office, she would go ahead, and then it would get sent in, so.
Okay.
Kirk
And
will
then
still have to sign it.
We would still have to sign and approve the grant authorization if it's approved.
Right, okay.
Yep, so we'd have a contract after. All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there, yes?
That 300,000 that I foresee, is it earmarked for any special projects or just in general?
It would be earmarked for Phase 1 and Phase 2 projects through the EPA in the Brownsville. So that would be investigating first, cleanup after that. We're going to continue to work on the Main Street Cafe, the Quiznos parking lot, the meatpacking plant, and the Norjo apartments.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimous. You just let you say that. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to approve a contractor to bring 8,300 tons of fill, soil, and topsoil to the Escondido Park soccer field site. Craig's been looking into this. Would you like to speak on it?
I would. This would result in a change order to the contract to build the two soccer fields. It's 8,300 tons, which associate out to about 275 semi-loads of dirt that'll need to be brought in to raise the middle between the two fields, crowning it, and then spreading it out from there. I'd asked for prices from Timberline, who is going to do the fields. Their first price that they submitted was $79,680. That was higher than we had funds available for. So we looked at the county, we looked at us, we went back to Timberline. They asked them for a sharper pencil. They revised their bid to $69,720. I got another proposal from DeWitt for the same work for $85,905. And we had one outstanding that did not submit a bid. So the recommendation, there is money in the trust, conservation trust. Kristen has approved it and knows it's there, and so is Rick Akers, to allow Timberline, who's the original contractor of the soccer fields, to be 100% responsible for $69,720.
As a side note, this is irrelevant to the vote, but I did talk to Pat today. He said he had a lot of that filter, 2 mountain pools over at the dump. So I don't know if we can work with DeWitt to use some of that or not, so, or whoever, Timberline.
Yeah, we might be able to. He was unaware when he talked to you this morning that it was 275 truckloads.
Right.
So, he thought it might have been 8, 10, 12, because he didn't know how much of fill.
But it was quite a bit more, so,
Yes.
okay. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. So, I did talk to Kristen as well as Rick Akers, and he is correct. Kristen did say that we had enough funds in our conservation trust fund. It would deplete the majority of our conservation trust fund, but the whole purpose of us holding those funds were for a bigger project. And like Rick said, it looks like this is the bigger project that we can use it for. They really didn't have any other earmarked projects, so this is an adequate project we can use it on.
Is this gonna be an amendment to that contract then?
Would be just a change order.
Is Kirk gonna have to sign?
Yeah, he would have to, I have it blank for the change order,
Okay.
so.
So the vote would, or the motion would need to be to approve it with, to approve the change order with the mayor signing.
Correct.
Okay, make a motion to accept the bid for the 8,300 tons, change order with Kirk signing it.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the change order for 8,300 tons and to have the mayor sign it. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and motion passes unanimous.
Not 8301.
Thank you.
And if it's 8299, I want a discount.
I can promise you it'll be 80. I'm gonna be there. Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is, was brought in by Martha, our communications manager. Martha is needing to do a drone policy, and even though it's a policy, we did want to get it approved by the council, so that way the council would be aware of this. This is a requirement for our CIRSA insurance. Martha?
Yep, well, Kirk said it best. Sarsa reached out to us through Margaret first, and then she had me research a bunch of drone policies throughout Colorado and other municipalities who have done the same. And so we kind of pick and chose what best fit our community, and so this is what I came up with. I don't know if you guys have any questions, if you guys read through it, but it's pretty standard, and it's a little bit more stricter than what the FAA requires a certified drone pilot to actually adhere the rules by, so.
This is just for city-operated drones?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So this does not affect anybody in the community, just the city?
Yes, correct.
So, I guess the only concern that I have that you specifically, in the policy, just specifically state the DJI drone. If for some reason anybody else, like say the police department, fire department, or anybody else decides to get a different drone, instead of having to change the entire, or change the policy again, can we just kind of leave it broad?
Yes, I thought I went through.
Is that in the pre-flight checklist? Number 6, the DJI Go
Oh,
4 app?
correct, yes.
We did have that conversation, because she
yeah.
had it listed throughout the specific type.
Okay.
And we had, I'd asked her to change it to just the City of Lamar drone.
Yes, so I would need to go back and change that. Sorry, I overlooked that.
Okay,
But yes.
my concern is just in case something ever happened to this one, you find different brand.
Yes, correct. No, you're absolutely right. Yes.
And that's the CLD as the City of Lamar drone. So we would have to make that exception or that correction there. I didn't see it anyplace else. I'm surprised I missed that.
It's on F2.
Yeah, it's on section E.
Section E?
Yes.
Yep, DGI.
Yeah. Okay.
And F?
Oh,
Yep.
correct. Yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
move we approve and accept the drone policy with the corrections.
I'll second it.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passed unanimous. Thank you, Martha. The next item on the agenda is to approve the Memorandum of Understanding to participate in creating resiliency and recovery planning document. SECED has received some funding to do some work with DOLA to create a regional resiliency and recovery roadmap project, and they're asking for the MOU to see that we are participating and that we would do the scope of work that's included, which would be have somebody from the state partnership team. There's really no, have you had a chance to read this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another memorandum of understanding. Everything's gonna be ironed out in a written agreement someday, at some point, so just.
So this is just providing the city a consultant that would serve under DOLA's grant to serve to us and help us do regional resiliency and recovery roadmaps. So that's what we're doing, is we're accepting their to participate in this.
I didn't see anything concerning offhand, but again, this is just a commitment to be a part of that group, and it seems that they're gonna be funded through the EDA, so it doesn't appear, at least at this point, that the city is contributing, and it doesn't set it out in that memorandum anyways, any kind of funds that the city's obligated to commit.
Yeah, it does say free of charge to municipalities and counties, so there shouldn't be any cost to us. It's just to utilize them. So, to use their project administrator.
This won't affect our other DOLA grants?
No, this one would be, this is just to let us participate, but it's not, we're not receiving funds, we're just receiving support.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the MOU, Resiliency and Recovery Planning.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of understanding. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passed. The next item was to do a letter of support for the Regional Resiliency and Recovery Roadmap. So the council has supported the application from Southeast CCOG in partnership with the CBRA to form a regional community team to receive technical assistance to develop a rural Colorado COVID-19 economic recovery and resilient plan. So this letter would be a letter of support to Tara Marshall, just stating that we are basically working in support with this, and we did do the memorandum of understanding. So these two are somewhat hand in hand. So we just need to approve the letter of support.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the letter of support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion passed unanimous. Last but not least, well, I guess we do have one more item. I had handed out the memorandum of understanding for DC fast charging projects. Leslie at the Welcome Center had contacted me. Some of you may have seen new charge point stations installed in front of Village Inn in La Junta. Those two charge point stations you'll see have the Colorado seal on the front because it's paid for by the state of Colorado. And it's a program with the state to get more electrical charging stations out there. Now, I have been in contact with them through the Welcome Center, and they are wanting to put 2 of those in the city of Lamar. As I mentioned in the past, I won't say names, but we did have another company that was wanting to do charging stations as well. So we were negotiating out to place those in our parking lot behind the Pocket Park, and we would actually just add these to the other project, and we would do them in unison to lower the expenses and the cost and keep it more as a EV charging parking lot or an area. So what they're asking of us, this is a non-binding memorandum of understanding to say that yes, we're interested in moving forward. That way they can apply it through the state for the funding and start the planning work for this project. So if the council has any questions or concerns.
Would these be at the parking lot or the Welcome Center?
In the parking lot. Across from the Welcome Center.
Yeah.
Yep. And like I said, we would put them together with the other company that is interested in putting charging stations there as well, so that way we have them all in one location. And they like the area because it's centralized within the community. It gives them access to walking distance to Love's. It's open 24 hours. They have Quiznos and the Brew and Daylight Donuts and the Pocket Park, as well as Las Brisas and all the other amenities that are downtown. So somebody that is charging their car that may have to wait for an hour will be either sitting in their car waiting, or they can shop downtown in Lamar and take a look at what we have to offer. So I believe it's a good opportunity for us to showcase our community as these cars come through, or the electric vehicles come through.
With the other charging company or whatever,
Mhm.
there's no conflict of interest.
No, they have actually installed these together with the state and the other company and other communities, and they prefer it because it gives them kind of that centralized location for anybody that needs to charge.
Okay, that's all I had.
So my concern is that we're taking up spaces in the municipal parking lot, and now we're taking 2 more, so that would be a total of 10, correct?
10 spaces, yes. So you're looking at, the way they're looking at it is it's the fishbone. So you have the double-sided parking lot where there's double side. So you're actually looking at the depth of 5 deep. So you're not looking at the full length, because it is 10 from, I think it's like 14 from the back to the front of the parking lot. So you're taking the last 5 closest to 4th Street is what you would be taking.
Where I park.
Yeah, but you would still have 10 or 9 in front of that towards the pocket park, so.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned that we're gonna have 10
Yeah,
parking spaces that are no longer available to people who usually park in the municipal parking lot.
and we had talked about different locations. We had talked about across the street, but they do the Mustang stop there, so that would block the Mustang. We had talked about putting it where the current electric charger is, but by the time you do as many as they're needing, you would be in front of the chamber.
Yeah.
We had talked about other locations, but if we do it in other locations, then we're looking at moving it away from Main Street, so you don't have quite the same amenities. So,
So if there aren't 10 vehicles charging, can people park will they get fined or anything if they park in an electrical charger?
we would be the only ones that would enforce that.
So
So,
nobody's gonna take their car or anything?
they might be upset if we have people coming through town and they can't use them, but, it's gonna be an issue of just the respect of it, So,
She's saying that
No,
she doesn't
she's
want to move
thinking
her
about it.
vehicle. She likes parking in her same spot every day, so.
Every day.
not every day.
You get anything going on at the Shore Art Center, and that parking lot's full.
Right.
So that's my concern.
So it is, it's one of those give and take things.
Right.
I mean, on one hand, it is taking parking lot, or parking spaces, but on the other hand, that's 10 people that are gonna be stuck there for an hour charging that could be shopping at the Brew, or shopping at Quiznos, or looking at the Main Street shop, or buying shoes, or doing whatever, but they're kind of a captive audience.
Hiking to Love's.
Yeah, or hiking to Love's down the street, a loaf and jug. But nonetheless, they'd be spending tax dollars, so it's a possibility that it
At
could
some
be
point,
beneficial.
I mean, depending on how full it is, we might look for alternate, additional municipal parking. But
Yeah,
what about the other side?
over by the, behind Crookshanks.
Yeah.
We had talked about that. The problem that would be is Hussein had a high-powered electrical outlet or a line that was running near the chamber that was on a dedicated source. If he was to put it on the other one, it would actually, if those got loaded, it would brown out all of Main Street. So he didn't want to put it on that load, he wanted to put it on the other line. So it was an issue of cost and coverage. So we didn't want to make it to, because these vehicles with 10 stations, you're looking at a pretty big draw in electricity, and probably equal to Dragon. They'll be pulling it equal to Dragon as far as the volume of electricity. So if you had that on Main Street, you could have some problems with brownouts. So that's why they didn't want to do that.
Will that 750 watts or whatever handle this extra too?
Yes. Well, they'll have to get a separate 250 or 300 is what he said. So the states are running at 300, the other company is running at 750, so.
They're gonna pay all expenses?
Yes.
Any idea on the likelihood of all 10 units being utilized at the same time?
To be honest with you, I don't know how to answer that. I have personally, since I have a Tesla, I've personally been in Trinidad where I believe they have 8 and they've been full. But other times I've gone and there's been nobody else there. So it just depends on the time of day and where it is and when it is. I think as we get more and more electric vehicle usage, you know, now with Ford coming out with theirs and Dodge and GMC, I think we'll start seeing more and more use of that. So we're looking at a longer term plan of how do we get them downtown and how do we utilize it to our best benefit. But we're seeing more and more use. So. So we're looking at.
I move we approve the MOU between the city of Lamar and SharePoint.
I apologize, I don't know what my phone's doing.
The MOU has a commitment in there that the charging station, that you're gonna make it available for the charging stations and make the parking spaces available 24 hours a day. And then also that they're not gonna be impeded, that they'll be open for use.
So that answers your question there. Wouldn't be able to use it for anything else. Trucks. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of understanding. Are there any final questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Breath. The motion passed unanimous. Last item on the agenda is miscellaneous. Do we have any other miscellaneous items that we need to discuss, or do we have any questions from the public? Martha? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Oscar? Motion passed unanimous. Thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. Thank you.